Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. I'm your host for the next hour. And before I go to the phone lines and start answering your really cool and interesting questions, I truly appreciate them very, very much. I want to talk about emotions, real emotions. So as I've said before on this podcast many times, the brain can't feel. It's a logical tool. So most of the time, the majority of the human race is walking around the planet operating from a mind-made emotion that has nothing to do with their reality or even their authentic experience. I'm not kidding. That's probably 98% of the population. So that's why it makes it hard to make really good decisions or to follow one's intuition, because in order to do those two things, you have to feel your authentic emotions. In fact, one of the things I do at work when I'm talking to a student or working with a client, and let's say they have a health issue, but it doesn't have to be about health. It could be anything that I'm reading for them. I'm feeling the authentic emotional body energy system for that part of their body. So for example, if someone's had their appendix removed or they've gotten really sick from appendicitis, the appendix is connected to the second chakra, and that chakra's vibrational emotional component is joy. So in order for the appendix to be healthy, one needs to feel joyful. I know, authentically. And there's key areas the second chakra governs, like work, all relationships, intimate and friendships. It governs creativity. It governs wealth in your life and intimate partnerships. So it governs all these really interesting aspects of our life. And a lot of people don't feel joy for all of those aspects. Some people don't feel joy for more than one or two of those aspects in their life. Now, on top of the fact that the second chakra is about joy and it affects things like the appendix, the bladder, the reproductive organs, the kidneys, the adrenal glands, and the lower back. The appendix is slightly different. Like, it is about joy, but it has an extra emotional component. The joy is felt for the appendix when a person automatically or authentically feels that they are worthy, that they are deserving, that they are valuable, that they are enough. That's the true healthy vibration of the appendix, is that you feel that you are enough exactly the way you are, that you don't need to change, you don't need to improve. More people don't need to like you. People that don't like you don't need to like you. Like, you are enough exactly the way you are. That's what keeps the appendix healthy. Crazy. So each chakra governs certain anatomical parts of your body and physiology, which is like the background movement that's happening, like hormones, which are associated to the third chakra, because I talk about hormones a lot. They are governed by self-love, which may seem like the same thing as feeling that you're enough. But self-love is like when you, like, I love peonies, the flower. My daughter gave me paper ones that are behind me that are always on this little bookcase back here, because I love them so much, so that I can have a representation of them in my house year round, not just in the summer where I refuse to travel while the peonies are blooming in Washington State. I refuse, because I want to watch them. I want to cut them. I want to put them in my house. I want to talk to them. I want to hang out with them. I love them. So self-love is like that. It's precious. It's delicious. It's like when you love a child or a pet, but having that towards yourself. So I know these concepts may seem like they're very overlapping, but they do have a different frequency or vibration to them. So hormones, which are governed by the third chakra, and they're all about self-love. What's interesting about hormones is you don't just have the major hormones like male and female hormones. There's a whole bunch of hormones. that are in the steroid kind of venue that actually work or don't work, or meaning they support the larger hormones as well. So you have lots of other little hormones that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about, like DHEA and DEHA. Those are other hormones that support the larger hormones that everybody talks about. And so there's layers and layers when you look at the third chakra that governs the immune system, and hormones are a part of the immune system. Like self-love, the deeper you can get into it, that the more you can feel unconditional love for yourself, which is pure bliss, to love something, anything unconditionally but yourself. I mean, that is pure bliss and powerful. I mean, so powerful, it positively affects the immune system, which is this huge, governing aspect with the pancreas and the liver and the gallbladder and the stomach and the intestinal tracts, but also hormones. And not only just the big ones, but all the little ones. So when we can adjust our awareness and vibrate to those true emotions authentically, be in those real emotions, not mind-made emotions. Mind-made emotions are rarely happy. I mean, yes, there are people who are in denial and who think that they're happy, but they're not. But they're a much smaller percentage of the population. The majority of the human population thinks that they're upset, depressed, mad, even suicidal. Most people loathe themselves significantly. Again, majority of the population, they're even unconscious to that because they think they like themselves. But do they feel likable? Do they feel lovable? Do they feel like they're enough? No. So those emotions that most people are really feeling, but they think different emotions, most people are actually really happy and fulfilled. And why wouldn't they be? I mean, a lot of people are perfectly fine. They may think they want more. They may think they may need more in their life. But if they were just to stop for a second and be present, they'd find out that, oh, my life is pretty good. Everything's fine. I'm all right. Hey, okay. So you either fall in the huge category of 90%, people think that they're depressed or sad or angry or lonely or mad, and they're actually authentically feeling happy. And then, the 10%, and maybe that percentage isn't exactly correct. It could be 80-20, who think they're happy, but they're not. They are authentically sad. And it's important to be able to figure out what you're really feeling, because how can you make a change? How can you identify if something that you're exploring, like a new career, is it going to bring you joy? If you don't know what you're feeling, you're not going to know. You are not going to know. You're not going to be able to disseminate from, oh, this is what true joy feels for me, and this thing over here feels like nothing like joy. So I'm not going to pay attention to that thing. I'm not going to take classes about that. I'm not going to try a career path about that, because it doesn't bring me joy. The same thing would be about people in your life, intimate partners, friendships, relatives, spending time with people who actually authentically bring you joy. I mean, that is so fun when that happens. So there is a way to feel your real feelings. It does take a bit of practice, I must say. When my guides taught me how to feel and explore my real feelings, it took about 3 months for me to actually feel my real feelings. And I was part of that 10% where I thought I was really, really happy, but I wasn't. About almost everything in my life, I was not happy at all. And when a person gets in a realization, whether they discover they're happy or they discover they're not happy about certain things, if they want to, they can make changes, which I did. I changed every aspect of my life other than continuing to be a mom. That authentically brought me joy and intuition. When you have to take care of newborn children or kids before they start speaking or communicating, you really need your intuition. So that was one of the things that brought me great joy about being a young parent and having young children. So, number 1, do your very best to ignore your mind unless you're doing something logical. And so that means you literally have to focus on the present moment, because the brain, and there's nothing wrong with the brain, it's just humans don't use it accurately. The brain loves to focus on drama and traumas. if it's not focusing on something logical and we are allowing it to just run crazy in our lives, which again is the majority of the population, it's going to focus on dramas and traumas. It loves the news. It loves self-criticism. It loves all the yucky, scary things that may not be happening in our lives or may never happen in our lives. So there's all this energy being wasted on something that A, has nothing to do with you or will never happen to you. Yeah, it's just a complete waste of analyzing and processing. But what needs to occur is just you're ignoring your mind. You're not paying attention to your thoughts unless you're doing something logical, which is great. And you're resting your awareness. That means it's as if you're bringing your mind, down through your head, your throat, your chest, and letting it sit. You're really just bringing your energy, but it might feel like you're bringing your mind, but you're really releasing energy into the present moment and letting it sit in the lower half of your body. Let it sit in your feet or your hips or your glutes, because that will connect you to your emotional response system. And then ask yourself, as you're doing all kinds of things throughout the day, what am I feeling now? What am I feeling now? Is this making me happy? Am I enjoying this? Because that's going to help you to understand what in your life is bringing you joy and what in your life is not bringing you joy. Okay. Good luck with that. It will change your life for the better quickly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to our beautiful voicemail messages that people have graciously left for me. Again, you can go to energyintuitive.com, go to the podcast page. There's instructions on how to leave a voicemail. And then eventually, because we have a lot, thank you, of questions, eventually I will answer it happily, joyfully.
Hi, Marie. It's AJ from the United States. And I have had an off and on good and bad relationship with my mother my entire life, which is quite a few decades. And sometimes we're really close, and sometimes we are not. And it goes into cycles. And so I'm wondering if you could see what is creating it. There's a lot of love there. It's this deep, deep, deep resonance. And we're both pretty intuitive. But there's this also crazy misunderstandings.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hope you can read our energy and see what's going on, because after all this time, I'd really like to know. And I know I'll know when she passes. She'll probably tell me, but I'm not getting it while she's here. And we have a few more years left. So let's see if we can get this organized. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You're welcome, AJ. And you are correct. When your mom passes, you will get the information, but of course you want it now, right? You're probably not going to like my explanation about this. And I'm just going to ask you to try out what I'm going to recommend so that you can see that what I'm saying is correct. Because I think it is. I think it's correct. So you think that you and your mom are the same soul age, but you're not. You're an older soul. She's a medium soul / she's kind of like a younger soul in the medium soul vibration. She is intuitive. And so that's why it's confusing, because we assume that all intuitives are old souls, but that's not true. Criminals, not that your mother's a criminal, by the way, but at all, but criminals, successful criminals are psychic. They're intuitive. They are. Intuition is a skill set. It's something that someone could have developed in a previous lifetime. But of course, more old souls have natural awakenings and awareness of their psychic abilities and their intuition, which means the same thing for everyone who's listening. Psychic, intuitive, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, all those things mean the same. They have slightly different variations, but they mean the same thing. Some people are scared of the word psychic. Hilarious to me. That's why a lot of people, myself included, I use the word intuitive, because I want people to embrace their intuitive aspects and learn to utilize them and allow them to be a positive tool in their life. So what happens, because you're not the same soul age and you've been treating your mother like she is, and unfortunately, you cannot share too much with your mother. So what happens is you guys, let's say you get together, you have a good time, and you start sharing deeply. I don't recommend that with your mother. She doesn't have the, and this is the wrong word because it just has to do with her soul age. She doesn't have the integrity or the consciousness, perhaps, to really understand what you're talking about. So she becomes defensive, or she lowers her vibration. She copes in an unhealthy way, and she can't communicate it. Where an older soul type that could happen to anyone. I remember once I was getting ready to give a talk at a bookstore, and it was early in my career, and I was still extremely nervous. Before I would give a talk, I would just be nervous. And I was in a different bookstore close to where I was going to go. And there was a gentleman there, and we started talking, and he was talking about his wonderful psychic career and how amazing he was. And I could feel myself getting competitive with him. Like, I started then talking about my amazing career. And I remember walking out of the bookstore embarrassed, feeling really uncomfortable. Like, oh my gosh, I just totally went into insecurity and competitive vibration. I didn't see him again, so I couldn't apologize. But I would have gone, I'm sorry, I'm not normally like this. I felt like I was competing with you. I'm really sorry. So old souls, if they can sense when they have a wiggle moment and they're not aligned with their authenticity, they'll report it. They'll talk about it like how I'm talking about it now. Middle souls, younger souls, no, they don't. They like to blame other people. So here's what I'm recommending you do. And it's just, you may not hear this before the holidays, but I'm recording this today on December 18th, 2024. Keep the relationship superficial. You'll have way more fun because there is a vibration for the two of you where it can be playful. But once you start diving down the old soul paradigm and your mother thinks she can go there with you, she can't. And she doesn't have to. It's not a requirement for her. You're supposed to learn to have a relationship with her without making it so deep or complicated. And she might even try to entice you. She might try to entice you to go down there. But don't. Keep it superficial. Keep it light. Keep it friendly. Keep it playful. Or don't hang out with each other because you're going to end up in this really uncomfortable place. What I like to do with the people who are part of my existence that we aren't really able to share as deeply as I would like, I kind of pay attention to my tummy area. And I like to go deep too. And I like to talk about interesting things. And sometimes I think I'm perfectly capable of with people that I'm related to. But the truth is, that is not always the case with a lot of people I'm related to in my life who are still living anyway. I can't really, they don't really know who I am. They don't really get who I am. They don't really understand mysticism or awareness or consciousness the way I do. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not supposed to, they don't need to. So I wait to see if I'm about to share something because I've been tempted and, they're my family member. I want to share. I want us to have a more intimate bond, which is kind of how you do. You walk into it this way. It's not good to walk in that way. But I kind of sit in my abdomen, and if I feel a quiver, just like a gentle quiver in my stomach, to me, that's a sign that sharing what I'm thinking about in that moment would not be in my best interest. That person may use it against me. They may, and then they perfectly can, but when we're working with our loved ones, we become more susceptible, more vulnerable, more offended, more defensive. So if I feel that quiver, I don't share with them. And then when I don't, I just have way more fun. I have a ton of fun. I have plenty of other people in my life, as you do, who I can share deep truths with, knowledge, consciousness, and I'm loved, adored, and cherished for it. Some I'm related to even, and many that I'm not. So that's what I think. It could be good homework for you.
Hello, Marie. This is Misha. I am in the Seattle area. And yes, I have done a number of things with you. I think the first Greece trip. I've been doing classes.
I know who you are, Misha.
10 years.
Yeah.
And thank you again for everything that you do. And you have made significant impact on my life over these years. And so my question is that right now I'm going through a transition I've been feeling for, close to the last year that right about now I'd be, that something's going to be shifting. And I am trying to find the right direction of where to go. And where I'm stuck with right now is if I need to leave my current job and if that will help open things up for whatever is supposed to be on whatever I'm transitioning to career-wise, or if I just keep staying with my current job and wait for something else to open up. So I'd be curious if you had any insight on any of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Misha. I know who you are. And I love your name because one of my babies is named Misha. You spell it differently, but it's really beautiful. So the one thing that needs to happen is you do need to fall more deeply in love with yourself. And I can tell you that my career gets bigger and brighter, more fun, delicious, interesting, the more I fall in love with myself. So falling in love with oneself isn't just a one trick pony that you do a certain level of. You have to keep leveling up, deepening. Just like when we fall in love with people and it becomes more unconditional. You know, it's pretty remarkable, pretty amazing, pretty phenomenal experience. But I think studying astrology would be great for you. I really do. I think you could be an amazing astrologist or astrologer. I'm not sure what the exact term is. So I would definitely start studying a very aware, conscious energy. I do like Marie DeSimone. I've had a reading from her before. I watched some of her videos on YouTube. I like her. I think she's cool. I think she's really interesting. So maybe check her out, Marie DeSimone on YouTube. And she teaches classes if you need to take classes, but what's required, that shift that you're looking for is really a shift in self-love. Love yourself more, bigger things happen. That's the shift that's your being is waiting for, your soul, your spirit guides are waiting for you to yourself a little bit more or a lot more, whatever you can handle. And I just look at it, do I want my life to get better? And the answer is always yes. Of course, I want my life to be better than it is. I want to be happier. I want to be more fulfilled. I want to have more gifts and talents. I want to have deeper bonds and relationships. I want to laugh my head off more. I would love to have more freedoms in my life. So I know how to get there is loving myself more. I guarantee you it works. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Megan calling from Pennsylvania. I would love to hear what insights you might have about my career path. I was a personal trainer and a studio manager for over a decade, but I got burned out after working with too many clients and working some crazy hours. And for the past 8 years, I've worked remotely in sales and marketing.
Nice.
And I've been grateful for the opportunity that's given me to be able to slow down and have more flexibility with my schedule and be with my family. But I'm bored and I'm ready for something with a little more soul. I feel really drawn to painting, human design, astrology, Reiki, and maybe even writing. Or coaching in some capacity. Mm-hmm. Might you be able to see what career path could lead to fulfillment for me? Thank you, and much love and light to you.
Thank you so much. I do think writing is a great path for you. You could coach people. You're so good at figuring out what people need. You could do that human design, which for some reason I'm not a fan of that. It's so complicated. I think that astrology, I like things direct, simple, that's just how I am. But a lot of people love human design. But yeah, I think you should write a book on how to help people to succeed, expand, become more of their authentic selves. I think of it as a coaching book. And if you want to coach people, then you could and use the astrology as a background. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if you listen to the intro of this recording, you heard me talk about feeling one's real feelings. And so not analyzing or processing, but getting into one's authentic emotions, which are always calm. Real emotions are calm. They're always a little surprising. They're compassionate, which the brain is rarely compassionate to us. Once we learn to shut it down, then it will be in its normal kind of hibernating state. in between logical activities that we need to do, or, like when I go sit at the other computer in the other office, then I answer emails and do more logical things versus here in this office, intuitive things. So yeah, that's what I think, Sue. And good luck with you. It sounds like fun. Sounds great.
Hello, Marie. My name is Isabel. I'm from Seattle, but I'm currently based in Brussels, Belgium. And I graduated from college about 2 years ago now, studied international relations, and I was wondering if you happen to have any guidance around a career path that would be fun and sustainable for me. I've taken a couple gap years, but I'm sort of at the point where I want to start planning potentially something I want to go into in the long term. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your work. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Isabel. So all careers that bring you great joy are sustainable, but it has to be great joy. Great joy. And you haven't figured that out. You're not sure what joy feels like, in my opinion. It's like been a while. I just remember pretty much all the times in my life where I laughed my head off. I mean, so much so that I peed my pants a little bit, Those are profound moments, and they really do need to be regular in our lives. Regular, even if it's just for a couple seconds, where maybe you don't wet your pants because you're not laughing that long. But that's what you need. You need some humor, some laughter, some play, abandoned play in your life, so that you can start to have awarenesses of ding, ding, ding. That would be great. So sustainability is really the ego trying to scare the gajibis out of you, so that you choose a career path that doesn't allow you to step into your magnificence. That a lot of people don't understand the true essence of the ego. The ego does not work for humanity. It's not that we're supposed to hate it. I think we need to appreciate it and value it like all things, but it doesn't support the human race. It often, regularly breaks down the human perception of our magnificence and what we deserve and our worthiness. Because the ego knows that if it were supporting us in our magnificence, it would be moving towards extinction, and it doesn't want to die. So it's not a positive force, and it's drenched in fear. So whenever fear comes up, like your question, and it was a good question, by the way, that sustainability is your fear and worry of not having enough wealth. And I would never choose a career path based on that vibration or frequency, ever. Personally, I would not. It would be a second, like, oh, and I can make this much money. Great. But anything that you have authentic joy for in terms of a career path will be fulfilling in all areas, including wealth. Okay.
Hi, Marie. This is Denise. I was wondering if you could do an energy read for me. I seen you on Next Level Soul with Alex, and I love you. I love your series. I've shared you with friends. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sending you love and blessings. Bye.
Okay, so I'm doing just a quick little drawing for Denise. A lot of people ask me this question, and although I can read anyone's energy at any time, it is kind of a complicated process. So it's, I try to make these answers not too long so I can go to the next one. But for some reason, Denise, you asked this question, I felt drawn to actually read your energy. You're actually quite psychic. I just drew out this tiny little image of you, and drew out all the chakras, and the sixth chakra, the one in the forehead, it's also called the third eye, has a ton of grid lines in it, pretty tight and close, which is an indicator if you have strong intuitive abilities, really strong, and you're taking quite a bit of energy into the back of the third eye too. So that helps enhance your intuition. But you have so much, this may not be the right word for it, but it feels like chaotic energy running in your body, which can be confusing. It can help you be ungrounded. You do have a leak in the first chakra, the root chakra, and we really want to be grounded and pull up earth energy. So I would find ways that authentically calm yourself down. And for you, I'm not recommending meditating, because sitting still is not your favorite thing, but maybe doing some qigong or yin yoga, holding a position, just walking slowly through the woods, like do something that's somewhat meditative but has movement in it. Even the art of Jin Shin, which I'm using a book by Alexis Brink in an advanced shift class that I'm teaching right now on advanced energy healing, so that the practitioners and people who are taking the class can offer something to their clients that they could do to help them heal. There's these really cool holdings, these holds and flows that you do with very simple placements on the body. It's really quite beautiful. So something like that can help you get into this meditative state, because I just want your neurological system to calm down. You don't really know what calm feels like from my perspective. And I believe that if you do begin to have these moments of calmness and allow them to grow, you're going to have a keen awareness of your psychic ability. And that's exciting. Okay, so that's my reading. All right, thanks.
Hi, Marie. My name's Emma. I'm leaving this message for you from Melbourne, Australia, although I'm originally from New Zealand. My question today is about something that I feel a little bit even embarrassed to ask about, but I think it's something that I really need help on. And actually, I'm also hoping it will be true for other people too.
Great.
I have an issue in my life where I have addictive tendencies. I, in the past have used alcohol, I've used drugs, I've used exercise, and in and out, and most recently of the last 5 or 6 years, food. Since having a kid especially, it's like the socially acceptable addiction. But I have a real issue with it, binge eating and really using food to soothe. I really appreciate your insights on this. My BMI is suffering, my mental health is suffering, my sleep is suffering. I'd actually love to have another baby. I think that's a problem with that too, my weight and just generally my health. I have a mitochondrial gene defect, so I'm really keen to age well, look after myself, but I really keep using it like a drug. Please, if you have any insight on this, what is the thread to get me out of this? What are my what if questions? What's the energetic problem here? Please help. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking my question. Thank you so much for, everything. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Emma. And thanks for your question. It's a good one. So we all have some sort of addiction. I mean, I definitely watch way too much television. And hopefully our addictions are, like the food one that you're talking about, or TV, or, something that's not like drugs or alcohol. But for anyone who has something like that, and we all do, everyone has, even planting too much flowers in someone's backyard could be an addiction, right? It's really, we're looking for something to soothe us. So we don't feel soothed. Our nervous system has been overactivated and we're trying to find something to soothe. That's true for people who have also experienced drugs or alcohol. They're trying to soothe themselves. That's literally what's happening. So what I would recommend that you do every time you walk to the pantry or the refrigerator, you find yourself sitting down with chips or other food you don't need or you don't want, I want you to love yourself. I want you to have some internal dialogue as you're taking a bite of some ice cream. I want you to say, honey, in this moment, I just love you. Because that's what creates true soothing, is self-appreciation, self-love. Even when we're doing things that we wish we weren't doing, if we soothe ourselves authentically in a healthy way, the addiction is going to disappear. It's not going to be a part of our life. And you've already moved in positive directions. You've obviously done this, whether you're conscious of it or not. You've improved in your self-love, your self-awareness, your self-compassion. But yeah, every time you take a bite of food, or you grab a bag of chips or something you don't want to eat, or you eat a second plate of food, or whatever it is that's going on, love yourself. Go, honey, I love you in this moment. Even if you take another bite of that delicious Rocky Road ice cream, I just love you. I love you. I love you, even in this moment. And that will help the addiction disappear. Great question. Thank you.
Good evening, Charles and Marie. My name is Fenella. I'm making this recording on the 11th of June, Tuesday, 2024 from Australia. I have a gazillion questions for you, but I ask that you just listen to my statements and let the other side tell me whatever they want, if anything at all, and hopefully somebody I love will confirm that they are still with me. So here goes the toilet saga. When I went to the toilet in one of the homes I was growing up in, I would see men's faces appear on a wooden floor. They were like in thick black chalk. They scared me, so I decided to look at the walls instead. Then they appeared on the walls, so I decided to close my eyes, and even with my eyes closed, I could see them clearly. Also with the toilet, if it rained and it was night, we would have blackouts. So if I did go to the toilet and it rained, I'd say, please don't turn off the lights, please don't turn off the lights. And the lights would go off. I'd run up with my undies down by my knees and get into trouble for being ridiculous. We always had cats. They would jump on my bed to sleep. One night I felt the bed go down. I felt the warmth of a cat, so I sat up to see which cat it was.
No cat.
Instead, I saw a glowing lady with a bun in her hair sitting on my bed, staring straight ahead, not at me. This terrified me, so I ducked under my blankets, and in the morning she was gone. There was a time I woke up suddenly, and my eyes were drawn to the radiator. I wasn't scared this time, but I knew the radiator was going to catch fire. When the sparks started, I screamed. My brother came in and pulled the plug out. Mum put me in dancing and singing to get me out of my shyness. That didn't work, but I loved it, and I did it a lot. On Sundays, while normal girls would my age play with Barbies and makeup, I weeded the garden. On one of these days, someone whispered, Faye. I knew it was a family member because my family called me Faye.
Right.
They only called me Fenella if I was in big trouble. I responded, if you're not Uncle Jerry, go away. Since then, no one has spoken to me, and I miss them. The nice ones, not the ones that scared me as a child or played tricks on me. I sought out a medium decades ago. She asked for my birth date. I told her 28th of June, 1966. Yep, the devil's number. I didn't know my birth time, but she gave me back my money after doing some calculations of some sort and said that I should be doing the reading for her because I was more powerful.
Yeah.
I don't want to be powerful. I just want to be one of those people who wave their little flags in the background, cheering everyone else on. Anyway, that's enough. If the universe says that I'm a weird person with a heightened imagination, I'll try to accept it, but I know these things happen. All my love and gratitude for everything you do, and please give Charles a big hug for me because he is so cute.
I will.
Toodaloo. Bye. Thank you.
Well, he's right here in the office with me right now, staring at me, wanting that second walk. Of course, it's pitch black outside right now, but it was a little bit lighter, longer today. I'm so glad it's starting to return. In the summer here in the Northwest, it'll be light for several months, well, maybe 2 months, until 10 o'clock at night. You can get a lot done here in the Northwest in the summer, but right now it turns dark around 5, pitch black. So you're highly psychic. You're a medium. You're a psychic. That was not the devil's number. There is no devil. I've never seen one ever. And I've been flying around multisensory worlds for a very long time. That's an ego-driven perception. Fear is ego. Fear and the ego are synonymous. So whenever we're in fear, we're dancing with our ego. But that psychic was correct. You're very psychic. And it doesn't surprise me you had those experiences initially when you were sitting on the toilet, because water is a psychic energy, whether it's sitting on the toilet. That's when a lot of dead people come talk to me before I go talk to a client. I could be sitting on the toilet or washing dishes, and the dead people I'll just start to see them and experience them while I'm really close to water. And then I'll go sit down to talk to a client, and there's that dead person I saw when I was in the bathroom. So these were dead people. Those faces of those men were dead people. They just knew that you could communicate for them to their loved ones. They knew you were a medium. They were not there to scare you. You just didn't have anyone to help you at a young age. So, luckily I opened up in my late 30s after I'd had lots of belief in the multisensory world, because maybe I would have had the same experience if I were young like you, even though my mother believes in the psychic realm and held back a lot of family psychic experiences until I was older, as in terms of stories. But she wouldn't have had the time or the energy to help me with it. And there was nobody to help her. There was nobody to help her mother. My great-grandmother, who was a healer, has been gone a very long time. I'm sure she could have been helpful, but she wasn't around. So that lady who got into bed with you was also another dead person. So they just were saying hi to you. They wanted to celebrate your abilities. Yes, you heard somebody in the garden, but you cannot make rules about this. If you start to make rules about your psychic ability, you're going to really limit your experience. So you can't just say if it's only Uncle so-and-so, if he's around, that's the only person. No, you have to be open. As a medium, we never know when we're going to be in the presence, because I have a rule that when I'm in public, people who've crossed over can only ask me to work if it's an emergency. And because I was a nurse, the emergency is like an arterial bleed. Like, it's a really big deal. Because I do this professionally, many years, and devote a lot of time towards it. When I'm on my free time, I really want to be on my free time. So no rules. I don't care if they remind you of the men's faces that you saw on the wall or wherever. Who cares? These are just dead people. And I know you were a child. That makes total sense. But you set too many rules, and the universe is very respectful. Just like I set rules, it has to be an arterial bleed. I'm rarely bothered in the public sector, even though I could be, and I certainly have been in the past, where I'm in the grocery store or a restaurant. And I even had to work once in a restaurant because of something that happened. But I've been very clear with myself too, and the universe is very respectful. So you were quite clear, and the universe was very respectful. So you need to start saying out loud, look up at the sky or the ceiling in a sacred place for you and say, I am ready to have the full expression of my intuition. I'm ready to be fully embraced in this powerful, meaningful, beautiful work. And I'm ready to be completely embraced with joy regarding it and all things in my life. That's all you have to do. Okay. Best of luck to you.
Hi, Marie. This is Niku. I'm calling you from Washington State. Thank you so much for doing the work that you do. I have two questions. One is that I'm undergoing some difficult time and situations in life for the last couple of years. And every time I get an email notification, it triggers a sense of anxiety and fear and basically discomfort around the second to the fourth chakras. And I'm wondering how I can overcome that, so that each time there's a ding on the phone notifying me of an email, that I don't have these negative emotions. And secondly, I understand that you use sound energy to balance the energy fields, and I'm wondering if you are able to do that for me if you have time. Thank you so much again for everything you do. I wish you the very best, and again, thank you so much.
Okay. The name you said and the name I have here, Jasdeep, is what I have over here, are different. So I'm going to tone on you. But here's your solution for those dings. Every time it happens, just go, honey, I love you right now. I'm so sorry that you feel this way. You didn't get enough nurturing as a kid. In fact, your parents were kind of critical, hard on you, high expectations, at least in my opinion. And that ding is kind of just another reminder of like you've had some traumas that have made your adrenal glands, your fight or flight response overreact. So every time you hear a ding, go, honey, I'm sorry you're feeling uncomfortable right now. I love you so much. And don't even look at it till you calm down. You just ignore it. Just be loving and kind to yourself. But I'm going to tone on you right now. So hopefully this won't be too loud for those people who are listening. I hope that's helpful. I hope it works for whatever you need. Be nice to yourself, everybody. I know my answers seem very simplistic, but they are actually advanced. So when I'm giving recommendations for self-love, self-appreciation, nurturing yourself. These are advanced techniques. And so I hope that everyone utilizes them, because they can work incredibly quickly in changing your reality very quickly, very, very quickly. Okay.
Hi, Marie. This is Sonal. I am calling from Virginia. I am 46 years old. I got divorced back in 2019 from a marriage of 15 years, and I have two kids from that marriage that are now 17 and 15. I started dating after my divorce. My partner for the past 4 years passed away in April. He was an alcoholic that I discovered very early on in our relationship, but still could not walk away from him.
Right.
The last few months of his life were oddly the best and the worst for us. We tried to part ways, but instead came way closer. We both could not imagine our lives without each other. I was the last person to see him, and he gave me a long hug, a very long hug before I left his house. Little did I know that it was a goodbye hug, like as if he knew what was coming in the next couple days. He was alone with his dog when he passed away from having a seizure because of excessive drinking.
Right.
If possible, I would like to know when he actually passed, as we found him on the morning of April 5th, but he passed a few days prior to that. One night that week, when I was not yet aware of his passing, I had an unusual body experience where for a second I really felt his pain in my heart.
Yeah.
It was my jaw dropped, I had tears in my eyes, and I softly said to myself that, oh my God, you are in so much pain and you must feel so trapped in this body. Looking back, I feel like that was his soul trying to touch me and make me understand what he was going through. But if possible, I would like to know if that's the case, or am I just making that up in my head? I want to know if he's around me and trying to give me signs, as even though our relationship was not perfect, it was the best I had so far, or I've had so far. I also would like you to do an energy reading for me and tell me about my spirit guides. I've been listening and enjoying your podcast, and especially focusing on letting go of all, the negativity and the trauma that I face, because I've never experienced substance abuse or alcoholism this close in my life. And I'm really trying to let go of all the negative feelings so I can understand what was the purpose behind of all this, because I do believe there are no coincidences.
Right.
So I know I asked a lot of questions, but
Yeah.
hoping you can answer them. Thank you so much.
So you did experience him, he did want you to know what he was feeling so that you would be okay before he crossed. I don't think that when you felt him, he was dead. I think that he had a lot of health issues related to the alcoholism, so a lot of things. I mean, his body was very toxic. He was having lots and lots of health issues. So he was on the brink of death for quite a while, actually. So he was having one of those moments where he was on the brink of death and you felt his suffering. So you're probably not going to like the rest of what I'm going to say, but this comes from him too. You are not allowed in the future. Of course, you get to do whatever you want, to date anyone who has serious problems like this, because you do not have good discernment. You do not understand what you deserve. You do not understand what's in your best interest. I mean, you can love and honor and cherish everyone on the planet. I do. I love and cherish and honor everyone on the planet, but I don't allow myself to be in relationships with people who are not healthy. Period. So because you don't have this discernment, you're susceptible to get in manipulative relationships where people kind of take advantage of you, and you fall madly in love, like deeply in love, and you try to help people and even uplift them. It's kind of a waste of your energy, because some people don't want to be helped. Some people don't want to change, even if they say it over and over again. You have this ability, which is a healer's ability, to see the potential in everyone. That's what healers do. They can see the potential in everyone, and their job is to hold that potential as they work with people or connect with them. It's a beautiful gift to have, but when it comes to your personal life, and here comes the thing you may not like again, you cannot fall in love with people's potential. People tell you within the first 24 hours who they really are. And so your friend doesn't hang out as much with you as you think he does, because once he crossed over, he knew this ahead of time. He was fairly manipulative, in my opinion. You can disagree with me, of course. He knew this ahead of time, but he really saw as he crossed that that you were not a good fit for him. He was not a good fit for you. Of course, it had some deep, beautiful things, but you know how to have, in my opinion, beautiful things with anyone that you'll allow yourself to have an experience with. It's just the type of person you are. Unfortunately, you're more attracted to wounded people than healthy people. So you're waiting around for a wounded person to show up before you allow yourself to become vulnerable. I want you to do the opposite. I want you to wait around till someone healthy comes along, and then you become vulnerable. That would be ideal. So if you work as a healer or therapist or, an energy worker or whatever, title you want, you can adore and cherish and connect to the potential of everyone that they have, because that could help them. When healers connect to people's potential, it helps the individual to have an awareness of their own magnificence. But when you're doing it from a personal relationship aspect, it only hurts the healer. It does, because that's karmic negativity. Healers deserve to be in alignment with people who are authentic for them, that could help them, because they are always overgiving and have enormous compassion for others, and they're attracted to wounded people. That's why they're good at their jobs. But in your personal life, no. He's just kissed you all over your face. But he wants you to stop thinking about him. He wants you to think about yourself. He almost wishes you get a little bit mad at his lack of ability, that you stayed in this relationship for 4 years with someone who was not your equal. Yeah, that's what he says anyway. I hope that's helpful. I hope so. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm going to go off and do something else. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I wish you many, many gorgeous and beautiful, joyful blessings. Bye-bye for now.